we have got a new Inside Star Citizen released, which means we've got something to look at and speculate about a little bit. This is about things coming in 4.1 that we're supposed to be experiencing, which is probably coming out sometime in the next few days. So we've been over this a lot, but there might be some extra insight in here, something that they might slip up on. They don't slip up on things, but something they might say that gives us a little more fuel to our hopium. So let's jump in, see what they have to say, and get our last little bits of preview before 4.1 goes live.
The last 4 months have been unlike any in Star Citizen's history, with each one bringing a new patch full of dynamic content, needed bug fixes, and long-awaited quality of life improvements. From December's 4.0, which finally brought our second star system to life, to picking a side in the ongoing fight for Pyro in January's 401, then building up the war chest for the continuing battle against the Frontier Fighters in February's 402 Supply or Die event, it's been one non-stop adventure in Pyro.
For the record, I haven't finished like most of that stuff. I just, I took part, I tried it out, I covered it, but I did not get to play through all those things.
But all of that changes when the story shifts back to the Stanton system in Alpha 4.1, with the introduction of new threats, new friends, and new opportunities for action.
I was told that Stanton was left behind. They're not working on Stanton anymore because they've turned all their attention to CIG. You're missing your strategy here.
Adventure and acquisition.
At 4.1, we're actually going to be introducing what we've been calling internally as sort of our B story. In a nutshell, the regen technology, which to this point has basically been allowing people to die and get regen back, the technology begins to fail.
All right, folks, that's it. Death of a Spaceman is in. Permadeath is now a part of Star Citizen. If you die from an elevator, sorry, you lost your character. Oh, that would suck. I genuinely feel like that's how some people think they're going to do it.
And that's being referred to as the regen crisis.
So it's throwing the Empire into a bit of chaos and confusion because this technology that everybody thought was basically going to conquer death is not as effective as promised.
Dude, that's a great freaking narrative touch. I love that.
For the player, nothing changes. You can just go about your business and it's business as usual. But for the populace, it's an issue.
So at this point, the Imperator is basically going to start lobbying the Senate to start loosening scientific restrictions on research.
Oh, dude,
one company,
yes.
Rayari, has put the call out to the population to try to find these sort of very rare minerals to basically bring to their outpost to help fuel their research to help resolve the crisis.
And the way you get those brand new materials is the Align and Mine Sandbox activity.
Okay, so these are the collection missions that they were working on being brought in and linked in to a sandbox opportunity that they're bringing into a game, an opportunity that's not going to go anywhere. This isn't a dynamic event. So what they're about to tell us is something that will always be there in Star Citizen, and you don't have to do for this mission, but this specific collection is related to that, which means they can, I mean, whenever there's a collection mission, they can just change whatever resources needed and whichever faction's asking for it. So it's a good addition. This could be something that really pays dividends over time. Especially just that style of mission, collections. Exploration light, you know?
So Align and Mine starts with these new facilities that are placed across 2 planets, Daymar and Aberdeen. These are Hathor-owned locations.
Owned.
Hathor is sort of an older company. Basically, they were kind of a mining consortium. But as the years were going on, they were doing worse and worse and worse. And so the idea was that Stanton was relatively recently discovered, and the facilities that Hathor built here were basically their last gasp.
The purpose of these facilities was so Hathor could communicate and align with the orbital platform above them.
They went all in on building these facilities in the hopes that it would yield enough minables and minerals that it would keep the company alive. Sadly, they were sort of mistaken and the company folded.
Now that there's a renewed interest in the minerals that they used to mine there, people are going there and trying to get the facilities up and running again.
At each of these Hathor locations, there's an alignment dish. And the players have to go around and try to find out how to align the dish towards the satellite.
So while these mining facilities have been abandoned, they are by no means vacant.
While you're at the PAFs, you will be contending with Ninetales.
Of course.
Ninetales are just kind of the scavengers, the bad guys. They go everywhere, they just want loot, they want to get rich.
They're just here to basically strip and clean what's left of these defunct stations.
Maybe set up a camp or two and hold it as a sort of strategical point.
It's essential that the players search the area as much as they can. I can't stress that enough.
This is the most fully featured area in the game so far. There's loot everywhere. There are hidden doors and locked doors and security keys you have to get to unlock new areas that sometimes have vehicles in them, weapons, loot, enemies. These are pretty fun locations. I'm not going to comment on how well made they are from a game perspective, but I have had a different playthrough every time I've gone to one, and it's been plenty of fun every time I've gone to one. And it always plays a little bit differently, especially with other people in the area, and still a comms array that keeps people at least a little bit more responsible.
Once you've managed to find all 3 facilities and align them with the orbital platform, you need to collect the power banks that they've left behind on the surface.
Now with the PAFs all activated, it's time to get in your ship and head up to the orbital laser platform.
So I know that some people have played through this quite a bit. There's plenty of videos out there. I haven't been able to play through this whole scenario yet. I've been waiting to be able to jump in with GII, with you guys. I want to get something really big together so that we can like all get in and go a little bit nuts with how we hold it down and everything like that. But I'm wondering, is this still like, is this enough? The way that this plays out is incredible on paper. This idea that you have to unlock this central facility, which then gives you these batteries, which, well, first you have to align this dish and then get these batteries and load them onto a ship and then take them up into space. It's like this is the Battlefront in 2005 I wanted to play. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted an objective on the ground, an objective in space, and a way to fly from one to the other seamlessly. And I can't believe we're doing it now. But how it actually plays out in the game, I feel like is going to be such a rough thing for a while, because we don't have all the systems, because the game doesn't play correctly, because people don't care about getting crime stats in these areas still. It's just so hard to get the experience that it's supposed to be that I worry about how well they'll be able to tune it for what they want the game to be. Obviously, over time, they'll be able to make it better and better and keep changing it based on what's getting added into the game. But at least right now, this is going to be chaotic. And honestly, I'm here for it. It should be a good time. I would just say, if you are a solo player, try going in by ground vehicle, just to not drag attention to yourself. Most people who are here in groups together, I have found, are going to be friendly to a solo player if you flash and high beams and stuff like that. But CIG, get VoIP working. We can't have this kind of stuff in game anymore without reliable VoIP. We can't. It's over. No f***ing more. Give us VoIP. Sorry, little petition.
Now with the PAFs all activated, it's time to get in your ship and head up to the orbital laser platform. Be careful, because there might be some certain Ninetail lieutenants kind of roaming around.
It'll be pretty tough to get in there and to get it going.
The power banks that you would have obtained at the platform alignment facilities need to be inserted into their slots at the orbital laser platform. Players can head inside, fighting through, again, more Ninetails while they try to get to this terminal in the middle. That will charge the laser, and players should see a really cool effect in their environment to signify that this laser is ready to be fired.
So once you've armed the laser,
I didn't know
and
you
it
get to see
begins
the
its
laser
sort
up
of
there.
initiation sequence, you then have to go back down to the surface.
What?
Near where the impact is going to be, you'll be able to see this because it will be a crater. There will be a bunker nearby. This bunker is where you will do the final stage, which is firing the laser.
Why are you making people go back down to the surface?
Well, I mean, down on the surface is where the loot is. Like, that's where the treasure is. That's where you're gonna actually get the resources that you came to mine.
Keycard accepted.
It's so much better when you're down on the ground, you hit the button, you see this laser just pull, and there's all this shit going everywhere, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Impactful moment. And there's that emotion of awe
It's
we want
cool.
to inspire. And
I think it's cool because this is an actual dynamic event. We've been waiting so long for real dynamic events in this game, and we've seen a couple. Ghost Hollow is one, it's a bit small. Correa is, I think, a pretty solid one that really does get people's attention, but this is a legitimate dynamic event. Almost anybody in this part of this moon will see this laser and immediately be like, okay, there's something to do. This is gonna attract attention. People are gonna be trying to get in on the loot. They're gonna be trying to get in on the sandworm fights that spawn from this. They're gonna be trying to go to the other Hathor locations and open up the locations that they know people have already gone through because some of the stuff repopulates. Like, this is a very good thing for the game. For that, for the fact that it's another unique thing that sets these specific locations apart from other moons in the game. So this is a reason to be at Daymar and Aberdeen as opposed to Cleo and Walla. This also shows us just how much stuff they can throw into something like Siege of Orison to complicate that. Imagine now we have to go around Siege of Orison getting security cards to get into different buildings, or shutting off or turning back on power for certain buildings and stuff like that. Just, you can start to see how this might cascade into a lot more content quickly.
when we was testing it, the emotion is better captured when you're boots on the ground.
This sounds really chaotic.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on the worms yet.
At long last. Wait, where did you come from? We gotta throw back a little bit. For any of you who weren't around, this is a big deal for Star Citizen, not because sandworms actually matter. The sandworm is the most mocked thing, I think, in Star Citizen's history when it comes to the way they promoted stuff and how that stuff did not work out. I mean, look at their most viewed videos ever. You've got like their big trailers, their Squadron 42 stuff, and their big gameplay demonstrations, a couple big ship trailers, but really once you get down to it, this is not that far down, this CitizenCon demo. And most people who watch this remember this moment.
Probably about, I think, 8 or 9 kilometers away.
And they never lived this down. You kind of see it actually. Watch this. Look at this right here. You guys see up here? You see that? You only barely saw it. A little teaser. And then so unexpectedly, this guy. And this was like, this demo, what they don't talk about here,
Maybe that's not such a good idea.
they don't talk about how this isn't supposed to be a gameplay demo. It's literally just a demo that's supposed to show off their Planet Tech. This is their basically their Star Engine trailer from 2016, but they didn't say that. They let everybody think this was gameplay, so everybody thought the sandworm was coming. This is how it's going to work, and it was like they had no freaking right to or idea about how to get a sandworm into the game in that state. But it's funny to see them finally getting it in here. This is the small one. There's a bigger one that's coming later in the year, but it's just a little dive into the Star Citizen history book.
There's a reason why Hathor abandoned these facilities. There's some local fauna that's not too happy when the ground gets disturbed.
So make sure you're prepared.
So we've been working on the Valakar for a while now, and we're really excited to finish off that boss fight and bring it to everybody as soon as possible. But in the process of developing it, we've also got some smaller Valakar.
Valakar are a tremendously invasive species. Basically, once they kind of get into an area, they kind of can propagate rather quickly and can become a very dangerous presence.
Honestly, the process of fighting them doesn't really look that fun, but I'm glad there's more dangerous fauna in the game to mix these situations up.
Juvenile is fairly similar to the adults on a much smaller scale.
Because they come up from the ground submerged, they can surprise the player in the way that they come up behind them or can attack them from areas where they don't expect.
These things are going to be terrifying in caves.
The Malakar will also fight the other Ninetales at the location if you've managed to find a way to let them be in each other's presence.
So it's going to be you against other players, against other Ninetales, against other worms?
Yeah, real Mexican standoff.
As it should be.
So when the lasers finish firing, it will have mined into the surface of this planet, which will reveal a cave network.
So now they can have vehicular minables inside of mainly civilian accessible caves. Because before, many of you may not have seen these. They made caves first. They made small caves. I don't know how quickly I'll be able to find that, but you should see. They made small caves back in the day that were supposed to be just for us to like, these were like super basic. I mean, actually, this is a great opportunity for us to just get an idea of what caves used to be.
Are actually quite happy since all the building blocks are now in. We are now able to generate a full cave. We had our caves.
None of these are very good shots, actually. You can kind of tell, though, like, some of you remember this early cave stuff where we were just freaking glitching into the floor, getting stuck on rocks. Like, there's all kinds of problems with these caves, and it was the first iteration. And they were interesting places to visit, but they really didn't have much going on. Like, there wasn't a lot of loot. Hell, we didn't even have loot boxes back during this time. NPCs couldn't walk around in the ground or on the ground, so there were no enemies in these caves. These caves were just locations when we first got them. And that's how things used to be in Star Citizen. That's how we would get things delivered. They then moved forward and they made larger caves that you could fly into. And the whole point of this was literally like, hey, we made these large caves that'll have branch off caves with different places for missions and all this kind of stuff.
We want to build upon is adding a sense of scale. We want to give them huge open environments where they are unable to get out of unless they use their ships, vehicles in general.
And they went far with this. There were, you could see, just like they wanted ships to be able to land in here, and for these to be almost like little dungeons that you were walking around and taking sandbox activities in. But we didn't have sandbox activities back then. So we have had this problem for a while where we've had different types of caves, but they haven't utilized them for any specific thing. And I think a big part of this that they're doing here with the Geo is being like, okay, let's bridge the gap between these caves. Let's start not specifying whether it has to have a vehicle or ship or not, and just let them choose based on how the cave forms. Because you also saw during that Star Engine trailer, they have caves where there's going to be a rock inside and everything. So I think they're at the point where this location archetype is at least being utilized in a better way and more freely.
Surface of this planet, which will reveal a cave network.
Inside this cave are 3 new mineable types. It's a fight for whoever can get the goods out of that cave as fast as possible and as safely as possible.
This is when it starts to become a PvP event. Because before this, you could work together with everybody who was involved. But at this point now, there's valuables, and there's a time limit, and there's only so much stuff you can get. So it's like you do everything else cooperatively, but then at the end, you might start losing some partnerships. This is why it can count to be part of a group who's in here. The solo players, you can make your elite alliances, but I don't know if I would trust them once the cave opens up.
We are in Stanton, so if you're gonna fight some other players, beware of crime stats.
Then you get to choose, do you want some interesting random loot from the collector, or do you want to just get credits?
help the human race. It's help the human race.
Yeah. Help the human race and make some bank.
While this is happening, Ant System actually has an exciting new resident. We've introduced our first Banu. His name is Wicklow. Wicklow is also offering a counter mission to the minerals that Rayari is looking for. So if you don't want to sell them off to Rayari to help with the regen crisis, Wicklow is offering some sweet, tasty items in exchange for the same materials.
Here you go. Bring chip in.
Wicklow recently retired, Banu equivalent of retirement, from a fabrication facility in the Banu Protectorate. He loves people, he loves humans, so he decided to move to human space and set up sort of a fabrication shop / trading site location for players to go visit, and basically he can kind of make you some cool stuff if you bring him what he needs. One of the things with the Banu was they always try to be the least threatening thing in the room. I always equate them to sort of the golden retriever of our aliens. So they're everybody's friend until they're not.
This is also a really good addition. Honestly, I think they knocked it out of the park with 4.1. Not in the sense that we've suddenly transformed the game and everything's different, and this is like some major, like I'm not saying this is a major update. In fact, my position on this is if you've been waiting to get into Star Citizen, 4.1 is not the time, specifically because of these things. I think they are knocking it out of the park on building future-proof content right now, because this will never leave. I think this is a location. I think all of this stuff that they're doing is kind of stuff that's just never going to leave the game now, and that is valuable.
Wicklow's Emporium, there are 3 of them in different areas of Stanton. You'll be able to find these on your star map. This is where Wicklow has set up shop. The unique thing about Wicklow is he'll never pay you any money because he's got a load of shit in his warehouse that he'd rather give you instead.
The collector offers everything from armor pieces to skins to weapons.
Really pretty, yes. Solid build, but also fun to make.
And other cool little surprises.
Even spaceships.
Even spaceships, big ones. I'm incredibly excited. It is quite a defining moment for a space game to finally get an alien.
It is.
And the best thing about Wicklow is, as we keep moving and building out this universe, his presence will stay. You will keep needing to interact with him. He'll keep needing random things from you. So you better make good friends with him.
And that'll always be changing. This is the beginning of exploration. I know we still don't have scanning and pinging, but I've always been of the mindset that there are things to find in this game. There are things you can explore for that have hidden value that other people haven't seen. And the second we're able to make money from those things, whether from trading that data marker to another player or by turning it in for a mission, it's not money, but you're getting rewards. This is it. This is the beginning of exploration. This is in a small place in a small way, but this is good. It's good.
4.1, we're finally able to deliver some content that we've been working on for a while.
I think that the experience of the whole thing is really cool, and I think that it's a really, really big step forward for us on the mission design team, making content for the future, that we are able to create events that use mission logic but don't require missions.
Yeah, that's important. It's the sandbox a lot of people want.
To kind of like explore it a little bit and not just have everything kind of spoon-fed to you. And it also mixes a little bit of everything, right? We have the FPS and we have a little bit of ship combat up by the orbital platform, and of course even creature fighting. So it's got a nice spectrum of things that you can do.
Still a pretty combat-focused thing, but you can always be the miner that comes in afterward, or the hauler that brings the stuff to Wicklow afterward. Like, there are ways to fit in this without doing the combat, but this is a pretty combat-focused event. Regardless, I'm not mad at that at all. Usually I like to poke fun of them about the combat, but this is pretty good.
I like the fact that we're building more of the story out of what this world is, how the universe is created, how these companies have operated in it, and giving you more fun sandbox things to do that require you to be the explorer that you want to be in a space game.
And with 4 patches in as many months, the introduction of a new ongoing persistent sandbox with a line in mind, the arrival of our persistent universe's first non-human character, a new system for acquiring rewards, brand new mining vehicles, and the beginning of a second ongoing narrative that's threatening the lives of NPCs everywhere. And no, I've seen the post. It's not Death of a Spaceman, not yet, or not soon.
It's happening.
Playing a really long game
It's
here.
happening. They're doing it. It's happening. We're all gonna die.
It's an exciting time for Star Citizen, and one that we're all super excited to share with you. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. As always, thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll be right back here in just a few weeks with even more looks at the future of our persistent universe.
Oh, that's gross. That is, I don't like to hear in a few weeks. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Did they just? Oh, dude, they just straight up leaked. They just told us Tessa Bannister's there. Wait, hold on. I saw that. I saw something about the spelling of this. Yeah, the old one was apparently had 2 N's. This one, however, has 1. This is also a really big throwback, guys. This is like, I mean, this is Sandworm level throwback. Tessa Bannister was the first mission giver this game ever had. We've gone over it in a recent video on Space Tomato 2 where we talked about mission givers. And she gave out exploration-focused missions. It would be very interesting if this was still the same character, just with different spelling maybe, but if she was coming back soon as a mission giver, or at least some element of the narrative, maybe with the whole regeneration stuff going on. Honestly, I think that's the coolest part of everything going on. What's going to be happening with that regeneration narrative? They're just introducing it now, but I'm sure it'll do something for us in the future. All right, let's see what this is about, though. Oh. Is that a Rock DS? Oh, God. No, you got to do it now. I mean, they got to release this in, what was it, the Raptor? Can't lose with something like this. Good Lord. I'm actually working on an April Fool's video. We'll see if I can get it done. Either way, I hope you guys got some information from this. I think this is a pretty solid update in terms of the overall direction of Star Citizen. Obviously, it's not great to not see things like engineering and features that we absolutely should be getting by now coming into this update. And I will choose to, at this moment, acknowledge that we are very unhappy about that. I don't like that. CIG, you should be getting us the features you said you would be getting to us after 2023 CitizenCon and what you said last year. Just to get that out of the way, I want to make sure like people know that that is also a negative. This is a negative thing, not getting features. But also, very, very, very excited to see the direction that they have taken when it comes to the playability and content in the game. Fixing things like the physics problems between 2 ships that are colliding, fixing things like weapons and the ability for people to maybe utilize more of the weapons on their ship. They have created a strike team for transit, elevators, and trains, and hopefully we hear more about that soon. We get a monthly report coming up next week, I imagine. Maybe next week. That should tell us a little bit more about what's going on with the future development, as well as some of the other stuff, because we know that with 4.2, I think, we'll probably see something else more feature-related coming in. Either way, this has been your latest. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on the next. Have a great day.